Hey guys, it's Allison here, and I am ready to dive into kit number 3 for Shimelle's Clear the Desk class. Now, in her class for kit number 3, she is using a pre-prepared kit, she used a Studio Calico one that she had purchased on sale. I used to subscribe to a kit club, but I don't anymore. However, when I was going through my scrap bin, I keep shoving these bags aside, and I couldn't figure out for the longest time, well, I couldn't remember for the longest time why I had made these kits. They've got a color scheme and then some full sheets of paper and scraps from my bin, and there was like 5 of them. As you can see, all different color schemes, and yeah, so I knew it was for a class. I was pretty sure it was for one that I had taken with Shimelle. So I went digging through all of the classes, and I've taken quite a few from Shimelle over the years. And these are from the 20 project, which I had started and kind of abandoned. So I am going to mix the 2 classes together, and I'm going to choose one of these kits, and that's going to be my kit number 3. Now, it's probably not going to be as big. It's definitely not going to be as big as my kit number 2. It's probably not even going to be as big as, say, her kit number 3. But this is what I'm going to work with. I'm not going to pull in any embellishments until I start creating the layout, like choosing photos and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. And then any other layouts I make using these kits, and I will, I'm also going to pull, I still have my 20 project prompts. They're actually sitting right here, the little matte medium glue stuck in there. So I can pull one of those, and that way I can mix the 2 classes together. Okay, so I am not going to choose this kit because I'm going to use this for a different project, which I can't share with you right now. So I'm going to put this one aside. And I'm just going to take a look at these and see which color scheme kind of appeals to me. I'm not even going to look at the papers inside until I've chosen which color scheme I'm going to use. So this one is screaming kind of Disney to me, so that would be really easy. I've got a lot of Disney photos I could scrap with that. This one is almost spring-like, but it does have this brown. I do like this. This is quite pretty. And I quite like what I've chosen just looking through. I'm peeking ahead, I know. So that's a possibility. I mean, obviously I liked these color combinations, which is why I chose them. That's really pretty. That might be my winner. I quite like that one. And this one is quite fall-ish, really. I don't think I have any fall photos that I want to scrap at the moment. So I'm going to put that one aside. I think that one's my winner. I quite like those. It's an analogous color scheme. So the colors are sort of next to each other on the color wheel, like yellow, green, and blue are next to each other on the color wheel. So that makes a really nice complementary color scheme. So let's open this up and see what's inside. I'm just going to put these other ones back in my scrap. Looks like I don't have any full sheets of paper in this, so I'll have to pull that. But I've got some old Stampin' Up. These are just scraps, obviously. Well, can't use that one, that side, but that's a pretty, let's do this. That's a nice card there. These are from Shimelle's, I think this is True Stories. But that's a really nice match there. Actually, both of these are. Okay, this is some Amy Tangerine paper. I recognize the circles. Oh, more of that yellow floral. Let's stick those together. Got some beachy wood grain. That's got the tops of the umbrellas. This is a crepe paper, I think, from the Pier. Here's some Bella Boulevard. So we're bringing in that craft. Ooh, some corrugated paper there. It's a nice yellow. That's Echo Park. I want to say that's Studio Calico, but I'm not sure. more of the Stampin' Up! Paper. This looks like it's from a 6x6. Both of these do. That's Amy Tangerine. I'm not sure what this one is. I'm not sure what this one is either. That's what happens when you get scraps out of your basket. That's Bella Boulevard, so I could cut out some of these shapes. The green is a little bit more like leaf green, whereas these are more on the sort of turquoise and teal side. Tiny scraps of that. And a large washed wood grain. Now I could use some of these. That sort of stripe would work too, so that's my Mind's Eye. That's Stampin' Up! This is a Christmas paper. Well, that side could work. It's got like blue and green on that side. Some yellow. Clearly I've cut these shapes out before. Or no, I've punched circles from this. That's what I did. Punched a whole bunch of circles. This is also Shimelle's from True Stories. Yep. I could use that card. Where did my color scheme go? Because that's a pretty close match to the colors in there. But the ones with the pink and even the navy aren't really going to work. But I could also use the cameras. Ooh, and a lovely floral. Now it does bring in pink, which isn't really in the color scheme, but it's got that yellow and then tones of green that are again a bit more leaf green than what's in the color scheme here. There are little bits of blue though that is picked up in this. So maybe this could be my cheat. If I wanted to bring in pink, this is how I could bring it in and tie it into the color scheme. Okay, so I am gonna need a full sheet of paper. I might just use some white cardstock. Again, that's probably a bit of a cheat, but I could also use craft, although I do have a good amount of craft there. The other possibility is to do something that I've seen Shimelle do, which is take one or two of the 12 by 12, well, the scraps that are at least 12 inches wide, and sort of fudge it and make it a 12 by 12 paper. So I could do that. Okay, so I am going to go and look for some photos that I can scrapbook for this, and I will be back. Apologies for the voiceover, but I ended up having a lot of little corrupted sections in my video, so it's going to be a little bit choppier than normal, and I decided that it just made more sense to do a voiceover. So here I have chosen some older photos from 2004 when we took our oldest daughter back to England to visit some family, and I have grabbed a piece of white cardstock just for sizing, and I have decided to go with the idea of using two of the larger scraps to make up one 12 by 12 paper. And I'm just trying to decide which smaller scrap I like, and I do eventually go with this one. I like how it sort of lightens everything up. The two other ones that were in contention were the ones with the circles on it. So the large circle print was from Bella Boulevard, and I decided it was a little bit too sort of cutesy and juvenile for these photos. And then the other one, I can't remember why I decided not to use it. It's the one from Amy Tangerine with all the smaller circles. I think in the end I just gravitated towards this cream grid. Sometimes you just got to go with your gut. So now I am sticking the two pieces together, and because I don't have a full 12 by 12 piece and I'm not sticking it to the white cardstock, I'm using extra adhesive to give it some stability. And now I'm just trying to decide on photo orientation, and I like the grid on the left, or sorry, the right, and because I am facing towards the left, I'm going to put me on the right, so I'm facing into the page and not off the page. And for photo mats, I thought I was going to use that camera print, but it was a bit dark, so I wanted a lighter color, so I went with this yellow, and I thought if I kept the border small enough, then you wouldn't really notice it has pink in it, and so that's what I decided to do. Okay, so before I go any further, these are all the prompts I have left. I will link to the ones I have done. I've got them all here still. I was hanging on to them. So I have done use a clean grid layout, include a shaker element, use fabric on my layout, evaluate Marley's first year album. So when I started this, I was using a lot of these prompts to help me with some page inspiration for my eldest daughter's baby album. So let's see. I think if it doesn't work with what I have going so far, I might just pick another one. So this one is use my embossing folders on a layout. Yeah, I think I could do that one. Okay. So the premise of Shimelle's 20 project was that she was sort of, sorry, I'm just trying to pull some papers that I can emboss here. I guess she was kind of in a rut and she wanted to shake it up a bit, and thought a good way of doing that would be to pick 20 techniques or processes that she hasn't used in a while and put them in a jar like that and just pick one out at random and use that to sort of kickstart something new, something different, to shake up what she had been doing. So I'm going to emboss these two, and then maybe, well, let's emboss them and then we can decide. So I've got a lot of embossing folders. Let me see here. Do you have this problem? These are all my embossing folders. Now I think I'm going to use the brick pattern. I think that kind of works with Stonehenge. Let's see, what else? Polka dots, wood grain. Cameras, yeah. Okay, so I have picked my two embossing folders, and now I've pulled up my Big Shot to emboss them, and I've got a couple scraps of paper there. One is in the darker sort of teal green from the color scheme, and one is yellow, and I'm doing the cameras on the yellow and then the brick pattern on the teal green. And at this point I really don't have a plan for what I'm going to do with these embossed pieces. That's kind of part of the fun though of the 20 project, is you throw in these sort of random prompts and see where it takes you. So I have rejected the camera print. I've decided I'm not going to use it to create a double mat. Instead I will tuck that piece of the embossed paper behind the photos, just like it is now. And then I brought in a scrap of the blue and green with on white. Now I know that means I'm bringing in white with that very, very cream grid pattern paper, but the paper is almost, it's almost so cream that it's bordering on yellow. So I'm not that concerned that the white and the cream are going to clash. There's other white bits in these photo frame papers from Shimelle as well. So it'll all work together. I'm not that worried about it. And I have this scrap with the embossed cameras, and I really didn't have a vision for how I was going to use it. So I decided to cut out a couple of the individual cameras to use as embellishments, and then cut one strip of them I'm going to do like a little cluster up at the top there. And that's almost like, that's as far as I got really, because I didn't know. So now I'm going through, I need some other pieces. I want to bring in some different shapes. This scrap, which is a Stampin' Up! Paper, has sort of 3 full designs on them, and they've got these circular patterns. So I decide to mimic that, or emphasize that, I mean, by die cutting them into circles. And I have 2 larger circles and 1 smaller circle, because I figure I can have 2 larger embellishment groupings and 1 smaller embellishment grouping. Yeah, we'll go with that. So now I just trimmed that little piece of the sort of blue and green and white chevron-y paper at the top. It was a bit wide for what I was wanting. And now I'm quite happy with the pieces that I have, so I'm going to start taping them down. And you'll notice I chopped the brick pattern embossed paper in 2. So I've decided to tuck it on either side of the photos and sort of fudge that it's not a longer piece of paper. So it'll almost look as if it's this piece of embossed paper that's going the full width of the photos, so it'll stick out on either side. And so I placed the one on the right, and now I'm going to use one of my straight edges, my scrap paper, to line up the other side. And it takes me a little bit of time here because, I don't know, I was just having issues getting it lined up. So pardon my head, but now it's all lined up. So now it looks as if that goes the full way across, but it really doesn't. Sneaky trick. And now it's just a matter of deciding on an arrangement for the rest of the pieces. I wasn't super happy with the corners. So because that blue, green, and white pattern behind the photos isn't a full mat, you get these sort of chopped off corner bits, and I wasn't super happy with that. So to cover that, or to fix it, I covered it basically with these circles. And now I'm much happier because it just, you don't really notice that it's not also around the top left corner of the photos, because you can't really see that it's cut off. I don't know, your brain just doesn't really register that it's not there. Does that make sense? Probably doesn't. But anyways, so I have taped everything down, but that yellow square inside the photo frame, and it's got a coffee cup too, which has got nothing to do with the pictures, but it's more that the yellow is sort of bugging me. There's a bit too much yellow. I need to bring in some of the greener tones that are in the color scheme. So I cut a piece of one of the scraps to an approximate size and stick it in the middle, and it makes me much happier. There's not quite so much yellow because I had the yellow embossed camera as well, and it was on top of the yellow coffee cup, and it was too much yellow. And now I am trying to find some letter stickers, and I have these super old, they're like corrugated, they're not even really chipboard, I'm not even sure what to call them, but I happen to have enough letters to spell out Stonehenge in this bright yellow font. So I'm just placing them roughly down, and do you see the E in the middle and how it's straddling the 2 papers? I don't like that. So I know I'm going to need some extra glue on these because these thickers are so old. So in the process of putting them back down again, I just shift everything over to the right a little bit so that now that E doesn't have that sort of half and half background behind it. And also the S doesn't look like it's falling off the photos on the left-hand side. And just putting some acrylic blocks on there to help the glue stick down while I search for some other letter stickers. And I have this bin of all my flat stickers, and I recently moved all my flat letter stickers into this bin as well. I was finding that when I was looking for letter stickers in my stash, they were just getting wrecked in my thicker storage system. So I've moved them into here, and I've pulled out these teal ones. These are Simple Stories. And now I'm just going to get the rest of my title in place. I also found that these ones were starting to lose their stick a little bit. I have had them for over a year probably, so maybe even 2 years. So it's probably not surprising that they are losing their stick, but I do find that just adding a little bit of extra adhesive behind them fixes that, and then it's not a problem anymore. Okay, so I decided to get my journaling in. I don't know the exact date of this. I'll have to look it up, but I know that it was in September and I know that it was 2004. So I've left space just above my journaling to add the date, but it's not in there yet. But this grid pattern is perfect paper to write down all my journaling on. And now it's finishing touches time. So this is another one of my bins. This has got all my sort of metal embellishments. So my brads, I've got some buttons in there. I've got flare badges and paper clips, and anything that's got metal on it basically is in this particular bin. There's that package that I've just taken out right now. It's they're from Simple Stories. They're the self-adhesive brads, I guess you call them. So I have 2 flare badges and 1 of those self-adhesive brads. Yeah, that's a tongue twister. And I'm getting 1 in each embellishment area. And just trying to manipulate everything. I don't want any of my edges to line up. I want everything to be sort of overlapped and layered looking. So that's why I was just moving some things around a little bit. And I've got these blue enamel dots. It's 3 shades of sort of turquoise. So I put 1 of each shade and size in each cluster, and one of them was a little bit too close to the top where I had to trim off my papers, so I had to move it and reposition it. But I'm finally done. So this is my finished layout, and if you will notice, there is one change, and that's at the right, just next to the title. I didn't feel like there was enough of the darkest sort of teal that's in the color scheme in that particular embellishment cluster. So I added one of the cameras from that camera print from Shimelle's True Stories, and I'm much happier with it now. Now each cluster has all the different colors from the color scheme. Okay, thank you so much. Sorry it was so glitchy, but I will see you again soon. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.